Different for you. Got me feeling things unusual. And the living.
Normal is a deeply introspective song about the complicated reality of living under constant attention, where fame, success, love, criticism, and personal pain all become so common that they eventually start to feel normal. The song questions what it actually means to live an ordinary life when your reality is anything but ordinary. Through the repeated line, "Yeah, we call this thing normal," BTS seems to describe a life in which extraordinary experiences have become routine, even when those experiences are emotionally exhausting or painful. The song suggests that what looks glamorous from the outside can feel completely different from the inside. The opening lyrics, kerosene, dopamine, chemical induced, fantasy, and fame, yeah, the things we choose, immediately introduce the conflict between pleasure and destruction. Kerosene can represent something volatile and flammable, while dopamine represents the brain's reward system and the addictive feeling of pleasure and validation. Together, they create an image of a life fueled by both excitement and danger. Fame can provide enormous happiness and satisfaction, but it can also become addictive, creating a cycle in which people constantly chase attention, success, love, and recognition. The line, "Show me hate, show me love, make me bulletproof," suggests that both praise and criticism become unavoidable parts of existence, forcing someone to develop emotional armor just to survive. The lyrics repeatedly question the meaning of identity. "Run away out of sight, don't know what I want, wish I had a minute just to turn me off," expresses an overwhelming desire to escape, not necessarily from life itself, but from the constant noise surrounding it. The idea of being able to turn myself off feels especially painful because it suggests emotional and mental exhaustion. When the world is constantly watching, perhaps the only way to find peace is to disappear for a moment. Yet the song admits that even the person singing it doesn't completely know what they want, creating a feeling of being trapped between the desire to escape and the inability to truly leave. One of the most powerful parts of the song is, "Heavy's the head when you chasing true." This immediately brings to mind the idea that searching for truth and authenticity can become a burden. The lyrics ask, "Will you color me red? Will you color me blue?" suggesting that people constantly try to define others according to their own perceptions. The following line, "Two sides of a coin and they both ain't true," is especially significant. It suggests that reality cannot always be reduced to two simple versions. A person can be happy and sad, confident and insecure, strong and vulnerable at the same time. The public may try to categorize someone, but neither side completely represents the whole person. This idea becomes even more powerful in the line, "Said you wanted all of me, but what is even all of me?" The question captures the difficulty of being completely known when even you don't fully understand yourself. It can also be interpreted as a reflection on fame and public expectations. People may say they want to know everything about someone, but what exactly does that mean when a person has countless different sides? The version seen on stage, the version seen in interviews, the private individual, the exhausted person, the happy person, all of these are real, but none of them alone represents the entirety of who someone is. The music video visualizes this conflict beautifully. The members are repeatedly shown in private spaces, bedrooms, bathrooms, showers, gardens, cars, and empty rooms. Yet, even these spaces don't feel completely private. The public bathroom scenes are particularly significant because bathrooms are normally one of the few places where people expect complete privacy. By placing the members there and showing them being watched by the camera, the MV creates the uncomfortable feeling that there is nowhere left to hide. Their private lives have become public property, and even the most ordinary moments can be observed and consumed by others. The woman scattering photographs of the members into the air can be interpreted as another representation of fame and public perception. Photographs freeze people into individual moments and allow others to create stories about them based on what they see. The fact that the images are scattered through the air suggests how fragmented their public identities have become. Each photograph captures only one version of them, while the real people continue to exist beyond those frozen images. The recurring image of the white swan sitting alone in a dark room is especially symbolic. A white swan is traditionally associated with beauty, grace, purity, and elegance, but here it is placed in darkness and isolation. This contrast could represent the difference between the beautiful image people see from the outside and the loneliness that can exist behind it. The swan may also symbolize transformation and identity, suggesting someone who appears graceful and perfect while carrying a completely different emotional reality underneath. The members' individual scenes also seem to represent different forms of emotional isolation. Jungkook singing in the shower creates an intimate and vulnerable image, while Jimin lying exhausted on the bed suggests emotional fatigue. Jin quietly drinking tea outside feels peaceful on the surface, but also strangely lonely. Taehyung lying on the sofa with a bandage on his face visually suggests vulnerability and the wounds that cannot always be seen beneath someone's public image. Suga trying to pass through a locked gate creates a particularly strong metaphor for feeling trapped or restricted, while later sitting alone on a sofa in an empty courtyard emphasizes the loneliness that comes with being unable to reach the other side. J-Hope standing in a bathtub in the middle of a forest while holding a hose creates a surreal and almost absurd image. This could represent the strange contrast between ordinary life and the surreal reality of fame. Something as simple as taking a bath becomes completely disconnected from its normal environment. RM standing in a parking lot beside a car while holding a cake creates another strange juxtaposition, turning an ordinary celebratory object into something that feels almost lonely and out of place. These scenes suggest that the members are living in a world where familiar things no longer feel entirely familiar. The references to BTS's older music videos, including Swim, add another emotional layer to the MV. By bringing elements from their past into the present, the video creates a conversation between who they once were and who they have become. Their history is constantly following them, just as their past experiences and memories remain part of their identities. The callbacks can therefore be interpreted as a reminder that even after years of growth and change, they cannot completely separate themselves from the people they used to be. The contrast between the party scenes and the darker individual scenes is perhaps one of the most important aspects of the entire video. At one moment, they are surrounded by people, celebrating, laughing, and appearing completely happy. At another, they are alone, exhausted, trapped, or emotionally distant. This reflects one of the song's central ideas. Happiness and pain can exist simultaneously. The lyrics explicitly say, if everything's just happy, that ain't real. The MV visualizes this idea by refusing to present fame as either completely beautiful or completely terrible. It shows both sides at once. The line, normal and special, they are just some lines, also feels deeply connected to the music video's concept. The distinction between normal and special is ultimately something created by people. For someone living an extraordinary life, even the most unbelievable experiences can eventually become routine. At the same time, ordinary moments, sitting alone, eating, showering, resting, can become incredibly precious when privacy is difficult to find. The MV constantly blurs the boundary between these two worlds. The final sequence, where the members stand in front of a curtain and take photographs with different dogs, adds another layer of absurdity and performance. It feels almost like a staged photo opportunity, emphasizing how often public figures are expected to present themselves for the camera. Yet the ending in the public bathroom completely changes the tone. Instead of remaining serious or emotionally distant, the members begin fooling around together and making each other laugh. This moment feels incredibly important because it suggests that beneath all the expectations, cameras, fame, and public images, there is still something genuine between them. Their ability to laugh together becomes a form of resistance against the pressure surrounding them. The ending also connects back to the idea of normal. Perhaps what is truly normal for them is not the fame, the cameras, or the constant attention. Maybe it is these simple moments of being together, acting silly, and finding comfort in one another. The public may see them as extraordinary celebrities, but within their own relationship, they can still simply be themselves. Overall, Normal feels like a deeply personal reflection on fame, identity, exhaustion, and the complicated relationship between public and private life. The song doesn't simply say that fame is bad or that happiness is impossible. Instead, it acknowledges that life can contain everything at once: love and hate, happiness and sadness, admiration and pressure, fantasy and reality. The repeated question of what it means to be normal becomes almost heartbreaking because the members seem to suggest that their extraordinary reality has become ordinary to them. Yet the music video ultimately finds something beautiful within that contradiction. Even when the world constantly watches, judges, and defines them, their genuine connection with one another remains a place where they can still laugh, be vulnerable, and simply exist.